Live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida, welcome sim racing fans to the finale round of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship live on Apex Racing TV. Happy that all of you are along for the ride with us here tonight for the championship race in virtual Florida. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary box is also my producer, Marco Barbonera, who's down in the virtual production trailer. And Marco, it is championship night. We will crown 3 champions by the end of the race and the checkered flag at the end of 1 hour. The entire season, all 8 rounds leading up to this 9th and final round here at the World's Center of Racing.
I mean, what perfect... I don't know if there is a more perfect place, if that's even something you can say in English, than Daytona International Speedway. Probably, yes, I can say it, my favorite endurance race of the year takes part around on the bankings of Daytona and in this treacherous, easy to learn, hard to master infield, and we are under the lights, Joshua, so perfect setting for the finale of the championship.
And like you mentioned, under the lights. We went under the lights a couple of rounds ago at Motegi. Great to be back. And Spa as well. Great to be back under the lights here at Daytona. Now, here's where your LMP1 standings currently sit as we get ready to go racing for the finale. Now, you can see up at the top, it's Jan Korbs leading the way with Alex Salmon in second place. Alex Salmon, with a penalty from last week at Watkins Glen, will not be starting the race on the grid. He'll be not qualifying and starting at the tail end of the field. So, Jan Korbs, with his 16 points and only 6 drivers in LMP1 here today, all he needs to do is just earn points in this race, which means basically not wreck out of the race, finish at the checkered flag, and he'll walk away a champion by a handful of points. Here's LMP2 Pro, and this is where the points will cap because we have no signups for LMP2 Pro today. We'll only have LMP1 and LMP2 AM on the track. So LMP2 Pro is done, and Timo Heiden, a great season for him. He turned it up in the finale, in the last half of the season for the finale. 3 wins in 4 races, 3 pole positions as well. He showed that he is a champion at the tail end of the season. Over to LMP2 AM. Now, this one is going to go down to the wire. You can see Kieran Smart sitting 2 points behind Tim Perry. The way the points work, from 6th place on back, each position is 1 point. From there on up, 5th to 6th is 2 points. Same thing with 4th to 5th, but then it's a 3-point jump from 3rd to 2nd and a 6-point jump from 2nd to 1st in the class. So it depends on where Smart is and where Tim Perry is when they're racing on the racetrack to determine that winner. And right now, Marco, it looks like Kieran Smart leading the way of the LMP2 class, and Tim Perry way down the order currently in P7.
Yes, and if we know something about this place is that you absolutely want to stay why we're interviewing Sam Blackwood. There we go. Yeah, you know, you want to stay at the front, especially turn 1. Always a dangerous point in every race we do here. And as we have Jason Marshall in the walls there, and so Kieran Smart looking to improve again. We'll have to keep an eye on Tim Perry. Of course, another big factor here is going to be the draft, and the draft is certainly a factor. If you can't pull away from the car behind you in the infield section, expect it to probably stay close to you and pass you on the banking, and then the cycle repeats. And if you are maybe fighting with a driver, maybe 2nd and 3rd are fighting, and 1st place is alone, this can cost you quite a lot of time. So, and Tim Perry now jumps up into 2nd, so 1 and 2 in the championship are 1 and 2 in the standings.
You mentioned the track a little bit earlier on. This track's so historic for the 24 hours of Daytona, and this sports car course opened up in 1985. The track itself opened in 1959, built by Bill France Sr. for the NASCAR Cup Series in the Daytona 500 in the birthplace of NASCAR, Daytona Beach, Florida. 3.56 miles, 5.729 kilometers. The track record set by a Daytona prototype 2 years ago, 134.504 for Felipe Nasser in the Cadillac DPI, and we're beating those times here in the sim with these LMP1s. They're screaming at 1 minute 24.493, the current fastest time from Sam Blackwood. Great early effort from him in OCM Racing. We haven't talked about him too much as being one of the front runners right now. He's about 5/10 up on Jan Korbs, but can Korbs beat him at the line? It's yes, it will be enough. 1:23.856 beats him by 6/10 of a second to go back up to the bowl.
A bad lap from I mean, Blackwood was having a decent lap, then he aborted for some reason, then went into the pit lane. Perry improves, but it's not enough. 0.043 behind Smart, so he's still in second, which is not a bad place to be, of course, especially because you can sneak in during the first lap. Of course, we will have a staggered start. The LMP1s will start first, and the LMP2s will start behind them. And of course, stay tuned because we will give out the unofficial standings at the end of the race, and a very, very juicy announcement for Season 3 of this championship, which is due to start on the 16th of July, so mark your date on the calendar, because it's only, what, 3 weeks away, something like that, so get ready. And I will say only this, there is going to be a radical change in the way this championship is structured in next season.
So stay tuned to the end of the broadcast for that announcement. That'll be coming up in roughly about an hour and 15 minutes. And we have an hour to race here today at the Daytona International Speedway. And it is expected to be the peak race of the season. 3 LMP1s qualifying and 8 LMP2s qualifying. 5 drivers not electing to take time, and a handful of those drivers were not allowed to take time after penalties from round number 8 at Watkins Glen. Getting ready to go green for the final round of the season and deciding who will be our champions in LMP1 and LMP2M. Grabbing a look at that starting grid, Jan Korbs will lead the way to green, and that current championship leader looking to go 3 in a row in the final 3 races of the season. Sam Blackwood will start to his outside. He has 4 fourth-place finishes this season. He's looking for a better finish, so he'll start in second. Juice Baumeister, a great start for him in the LMP1 class last week. He'll start from 3rd. Alex Salmon, Alexander Spetz, and Andy Thompson round out your field in LMP1. There's your 2 championship hopefuls in LMP2M, and the only LMP2 class taking the green here today. Kieran Smart, Tim Perry on the front row there, and as they stand right now, Kieran Smart unofficially taking the points lead before we go green. Jason Marichal, Hans Blanquer round out the second row, and down the rest of the order, Cesar Cabral, Thomas Sorensen, Jean-Francois Elagorche, Daniel Jansen, and then not taking time at the bottom of the leaderboard, Roy Moss and Aaron Smith. 16 drivers getting ready to take the green flag here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Marco, final thoughts, because this is going to be an intense race, and mainly looking at the LMP2 field, Kieran Smart and Tim Perry will be starting side by side. That is the battle for the championship. Smart's going to be defending all they can down into turn number 1.
Absolutely, absolutely, and a bit of a surprise also in LMP1, because Andy Thompson hasn't qualified. This promotes Salmon and Spets up a position. These positions are, when you don't qualify, you get sorted by your rating, and so this effectively puts Salmon up 1 row in the 2nd row, whilst Spets will have to be content with the 5th row, and also Salmon will start right behind his OCM teammate Sam Blackwood. We have seen also at the Glen, especially at the Glen, teams working together quite a lot for the good and the bad, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly will Spets be able to join, or at least get close Jan Corps and maybe give him a helping hand, as of course we are at Daytona, so what better place to have the pace track for the final round of the season?
How close will he be able to get? Jan Korbs will lead the field in LMP1 to the green. After that, iRacing official pace truck pulls down into the safety of pit lane for the final time this season. We got started in Germany at the Nürburgring, stayed in Germany to Hockenheim, then went to France at Le Mans, then England at Silverstone, finished it off in Belgium at Spa, then over to Japan at Motegi, and then the final 3 rounds, Road America, Watkins Glen, and now Daytona here in the States. We're underway in the final round of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, and a great start for your LMP1 points leader, Jan Korbs. He'll dive into turn number 1. Sam Blackwood trying to rally back on the outside line. It won't be enough as Jan Korbs is on the boost. A little bit of a loose race car for Sam Blackwood. He'll fall in second place as the LMP2s get going on the front straightaway. Can Kieran Smart hold on to that lead as they race their way now into turn number 1? And out of the International Horseshoe comes your LMP1 field. Korbs still with a great start. Blackwood trying to catch up.
Let's bring up the track map, which will be useful today. There's a crash already. It's Jason Marshall. He went straight for pit road. And that, I think, is also might be an unsafe pit entrance penalty. But certainly not the start he was looking for. As Cabral also, he was chatting with us up until 7 seconds ago, the Brazilian driver. In the grass as well.
Handful of drivers for LMP2 having troubles. There's the 334 of Daniel Jansen trying to go up the inside of Hans Blanquart. Hans not going to have any of that. He'll keep that spot in the 333 as they work their way out of the corner. Making a move, trying to at least OCM Racing teammates. That's Alex Salmon you're on board with now. Trying to get by Sam Blackwood, and that's exactly what's going to happen is Blackwood has to slow down.
Disaster for the OCM guys, because now I think Spets might get the jump on Blackwood, and it does. Lap 1 slowdowns in iRacing, you know Joshua very well, they are deadly.
That will hurt Sam Blackwood by a lot. Now that leaves Alex Salmon to try and go fight Jan Korbs. The problem is he's going to need Korbs to fall, at least crash, fall down the order, to have something happen as Jules Baumeister comes into the pit lane after lap 1.
Yeah, he was the
Looks
guy
like
that
some
went
possible
straight.
damage to that car.
He went straight in the second corner at the International Horseshoe, so big damage. The driver that switched to the LMP1 class after the halfway point of the season. Kieran Smart and Tim Perry, you can see them on the track map, already pulling away from the rest of the LMP2 grid, and a mistake from Smart.
This will change the points lead, side by side for the points lead right now. Smart gonna lose the spot. That's gonna move Tim Perry back up, now leading the points by 8 points now. Over Kieran Smart will be Tim Perry as they work their way down the straightaway through the infield. Smart needs to get by Perry on lap number 2. He does not want to throw away that championship that easily, but right now that is exactly what is happening. He needs to get back by Perry if he wants any chance at the points lead and at the championship. And our race, Marco, he is not out of the realm of possibility yet, but we know the more that Tim Perry is left out in front, the more he's going to pull away.
And, you know, one thing we also have to consider tonight, especially these LMP1 drivers, will be absolutely desperate sorry, to get the you know, lappings done quickly and not lose contact with their rivals. And so, you know, the LMP2 drivers need to factor this as well, as Alexander Spets, the fastest lap of the race of 24.6, he is looking to close in on Alex Salmon and Jan Korbs in first and second place.
Alexander Spets has had the fastest lap of the race in every round this season except for round 1 and round 7. He is super fast around these racetracks in that LMP1. He's looking to go 7 fastest laps in 7 races this season out of 9 rounds. Battle for third place, Blanquart and Jansen on board with the Dutch Sprint number 334 of Jansen. Oh, and Jansen's gonna get into the horseshoe. He's able to save it. He'll lose one spot now to Thomas Sorensen. Might lose another to Roy Moss as the driver for the rookie starts coming up his rear view mirror. But a huge mistake from Daniel Jansen loses him a spot on the racetrack.
Cesar Cabral was able to restart without doing repairs, but not the same for Jason Marshall, who's in the pits and I think serving his penalty and also changing tires, I think, or maybe not, no, that's just his shadow, but he needs to serve the penalty, whilst Bowmister probably forgot to check his fast repair, and now he is in for a long stop there. So, Curbs, Salmon is Spets gaining in this lap as well, slightly, but you know, this is of course not to play in the hands of Jan Curbs having his teammate there in third, whilst Sam Blackwood has to make a comeback, and as you can see he is losing quite a lot compared to Spets, so Salmon will be a bit on his own, I think, unless things change drastically.
5/10 separate those first two leaders, and you can see on the timing tower about a 1 second gap in between Salmon and Spets as Roy Moss is going to lose a spot to Elagorsch. You can see Jean-Francois Elagorsch in 356 on the outside, powers around as he heads into turn number 1. That'll move the 356 up into 6th place on the racetrack. Moss now back down to P7. Still up 3 spots from where he started. Roy Moss did not take to qualifying at the beginning of this race. There's your leaders for LMP2 right now. And we mentioned that mistake from Kieran Smart that happened about 1 lap ago, or 2 laps ago now, heading into the infield section of the Daytona International Speedway. And you can see how much it's already hurt Kieran Smart. 8/10 the gap in between himself and Tim Perry. Perry came into today, only one win on the season. It was last round number 8 at Watkins Glen. He also got the pole there, but he came in 2 points ahead of Kieran Smart. And now with Smart running in 2nd place in class, he is going to lose the championship by 8 points. And Tim Perry will win the championship for Comport Motorsport by 8 points. Here's your battle for LMP1. Spets has closed that gap. He is now up here in the battle, but Salmon not able to close any closer to Jan Curbs as they work their way out of the infield section back into turns 1 and 2. There's the ARL Bruzy eSports silver driver, Jan Curbs, and there's all 3 of your LMP1 leaders racing their way out of NASCAR turn 2.
From now, by the way, as Mark gets the fastest lap of the LMP2 field, this race, since we are trying to follow the schedule that was originally posted when this season was started, so season 2 of the official iRacing series. So that was what was used as inspiration. We are actually racing in early April, so most of the rounds, if not all of the rounds, around the outside is Salmon. Make the move sticky. He wants to make this move because he sees that Spets is very close in his rearview mirrors now.
On board with the OCM Racing 128 of Alex Salmon, there is Spets. He is the teammate to Jan Curbs at RLR Bruzy eSports Silver, expecting those 2 teammates to work together, especially because Alexander Spets, after a lackluster start to the season and a little bit of a lackluster end to the season, he is out of the realm for championship hopes. And it looks like he might have thought about making a move on the inside of Alex Salmon there, not able to do so. Didn't want to go too far up that inside lane before that door closed. So, Jan Curbs, Alex Salmon, Alexander Spets, your top 3 right now. Looking on the nose of the RLR Bruzy eSports Silver 115 of Alexander Spets. Diving it back through the bus stop, and you can see a little bit of a touch to the grass for Alex Salmon. No slowdowns on any of them. They'll race it back into NASCAR 3. On the boost is Alexander Spets. Look at the run to the outside line. They'll go side by side through NASCAR 4 and down the front straightaway. Is he going to be able to get close enough? Here they come to the back bumper of Jan Curbs. They'll add him into this fight as they go 2 by 2 going into the tri-oval.
We were expecting some argy-bargy after a lot of bad blood between these drivers at the Glen and throughout the season, and we were not disappointed. You see they were rubbing fenders NASCAR style on the tri-oval. That was crazy.
Back through the International Horseshoe. No change in positions for the top 3. They're coming up on LMP2 traffic. That's going to affect this race for the lead. Here comes Alexander Spets, a huge dive to the inside. They'll cover him up. Contact made, and a huge contact is made. Side by side for the race lead. Alex Salmon will take the lead over Jan Curbs. Contact made going into the corner, sending Alexander Spence into the tire barrier, and Alex Salmon's gonna walk away with the lead over Jan Korbs as they go through NASCAR 1 and 2.
Now it's a festival of flashing headlights as they go past Cabral there for the lead of the LMP1 class. Wow, I cannot say that this wasn't something I expected, because it has been brewing all season. Last week at the Glen we had several instances of contact between these top drivers in the LMP1 class, and tonight I think the pressure has boiled over. That was a massive wreck. Korbs was almost wiped out by the spinning car there of his teammate.
And you just mentioned it, Marco, that was his teammate. How will this affect how Jan Korbs races Alex Salmon? Remember, they're not necessarily racing for the championship right now. 16 points going into this race. Right now, where Alex Salmon sits in the lead, there's Alexander Spence. You see a lot of damage to that rear wing. He'll come in, use that fast repair, and get back out on the racetrack. But as I was saying about this lead back, with 8 points separating the points earned from first to second, 50 points for first place, 44 for second place. Even if Salmon is able to walk away with the fastest lap, he's only going to make up about half of the points that he needs to make it up to Jan Korbs. Right now, Korbs is mainly just racing for the win, not really for the championship. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get taken out by one of the LMP2s or by Alex Salmon.
Absolutely. By the way, it's very early for Spets to stop right now, but this is one of the highest fuel consumption tracks in iRacing, so I don't know if it's going to be enough for him to make it to the end.
About 50 minutes left on the clock, and we will expect to see the majority of the field start to work their way into the pit lane at around halfway. So it'll be about the 30-minute mark in this race. Here's the replay. What happened between these two leaders? There's the dive to the inside for Spets. He was able to cover him off down into the braking zone. It looked like maybe Salmon thought he could get to the side quicker, or maybe he thought that Spets was going to brake later. Either way, contact with Alex Salmon on Spets, and we know Alexander Spets is not going to be happy about that one, and we know Jan Korbs is most likely not happy about that one. He almost got taken out, and his teammate did get taken out of the race for the win.
Incredibly smart driving there from Korbs. He saw the crash in the mirror, took a wider line on purpose, and that
worked their way back through the infield section at the Daytona International Speedway. And off of the infield now, onto the NASCAR portion of this course. Update with your LMP2 leaders. Tim Perry doing an amazing job leading the way here. Smart not able to make a move, but also not letting Perry get too far. About half a second separating them, as there goes Alex Salmon right on by. Could this affect the battle for the LMP2s? Looked like a good slipstream that Smart was able to get off of Alex Salmon there. Oh, gets loose coming out of the bus stop, though. There goes Korbs right on around in the LMP1. That track Scotland 339 of Kieran Smart, not able to close the gap any further. 4/10 now the gap, so he was able to get at least a 10th on Perry. Not nearly enough to go battling for the lead.
Contact, as we just said, in the LMP1 class gives me a nice reminder to the kind viewers that we will give you unofficial results at the end of the race, championship wise, and then all results are considered to be temporary until the final protest reviews that will happen later this week. The results will be published on our social media outlets and websites. So everything you see tonight, of course, as it's, every round that is post-race protest reviews, and this is no different. We won't rush in declaring someone a champion, because of course there is a lot of things to unpack after each meeting, and I think this one is going to be a particularly juicy one in the stewards room after the race.
Definitely think Alexander Spets will have something to say about it in protest this week. But 14 minutes down, still a long way to go here from the Daytona International Speedway, and Sammy doing an amazing job pulling away from Corbs once he was able to grab that lead away. And here's the battle for LMP2. To the outside goes Kieran Smart. This is for the points lead of LMP2. Will Smart have enough? Side by side, wheel to wheel, fender to fender across the start-finish line. They dive it back into turn one. Perry gonna be able to power past.
And amazing stuff between these two drivers. Their battle shouldn't be overshadowed by the LMP1 shenanigans, because these two drivers have fought all season long and they've fought very, very fairly. A little bit of a slide there from Perry coming out of the international horseshoe as they get into the kink. Of course, you need to be very, very delicate with this car. You don't want to do that at all. It will upset the rear tires and make for a very, very tough night at the office. The drivers are helped tonight by the fact that, of course, we are racing at night. And as you can see here, 75. So I would say a very, very good night for racing, Joshua.
I don't think we've had a 68-degree night in Florida since April, so it is good to see that. And at least in virtual Florida, we're having a very nice, cool night of racing here. Not quite 24 hours, but it is a one singular hour we're going to get here tonight. Still grabbing a look at this battle for the LMP2 lead. Oh my, I think Perry might have gone a little bit too far off the track there. Let's look at the battle between Daniel Jansen and Cesar Cabral. Jansen tried to throw the block on Cabral, but around the outside goes the Charity Racing Team 370. And right around he goes. So that will put the Dallara P217 of Cesar Cabral up into P7. Doesn't look like Perry got a slowdown for that. It looked like he might have gotten just a hair too far onto the grass of the bus stop, but he will go wide in turn number one. Here comes Smart back to the back wing. Is he going to be able to make a move heading into the International Horseshoe? He does not. Blocking him is Tim Perry, making sure that door is closed so they come onto the back straightaway. Through the dog leg.
Oh, okay. They were passing each other and now they're waiting for each other. This is not the first time that Cesar Cabral has done this season. He was running on the apron, which is a bit of a no-no. Then he comes back up, it's a bit of netcode, then they touch again. Daniel Jansen, one of the new drivers in the series. As I was saying, Cabral a couple of times already has been very, very gentleman and has given way to drivers in case of contact, and today is not different, even at the final race of the season. These two guys, I think this battle is going to be one that's going to, unless we see a massive mistake, this is going to go on for a long time, and maybe the undercut will really come into play tonight.
Side by side for the LMP2 lead. Can Smart grab it this time? This has been the same story the last couple of laps. Smart can get to the outside, go even with Tim Perry, but not have enough to power around the outside heading into turn one. He'll go second fiddle once again heading into the infield. Only about a 1/10.5 separating the two. Dives it into the International Horseshoe. Brakes late, just not late enough to get anywhere close to Tim Perry. This seems to be the same story lap after lap after lap. Smart gets a good run through NASCAR 3 and 4, goes side by side, heading into the front straightaway as Daniel Jansen for Dutch Sprint brings it into the pit lane. We'll say on board with Kieran Smart in the 339. But out of the infield section he goes, back onto the oval. Wide goes Tim Perry, little loose goes Tim Perry, just not able to get close enough for the lead. Perry, even with the mistakes, Marco, has the fastest car hand over fist right now in LMP2.
Seems like that, yes, absolutely. Even in of course, the draft, as we were saying in the opening, he suffers a bit, but he's able to defend. Let's see if Smart will go for an aggressive move on defending on the inside, and you can see Smart lifting. Not being too aggressive there. He knows it's a long race. Wow, not leaving dangerously there. Now we have the LMP1 cars going by. That's why. That was actually Alexander Spetz who just went past Andy Thompson. There's Andy. See him on the right side. Once again, here we go again. Maybe this time he can go for the move. But he comes out of the draft and he just stalls.
These LMP2 cars, unlike the LMP1s, there's no boost on them, so it's only the raw power, and the slipstream is, I'd say, more in these cars than the LMP1s, and it's needed a lot more than the LMP1s. They're able to use that slipstream to their advantage, but in Kieran Smart's case, in that 383 for Track Scotland, or sorry, the 339 for Track Scotland, he just cannot get the power to swing around the outside using the slipstream and carry it. Like you mentioned, Marco, he just seems to stall out whenever he pulls out of the draft. That's the opposite of what he needs. He might need to try and go for a dive up the inside, but we're just now crossing over 20 minutes down in this race. It's a bit too early for some rash moves like that.
Yeah, you know, maybe because LMP1s are so fast, it's very tricky to get the slipstream from them, but maybe when they start lapping the LMP2s, the closest ones are just coming out and entering NASCAR 3 and 4. That's maybe when Smart can use the draft of the LMP2 lappers and maybe get that extra, the extra boost of speed, no pun intended, to get past Perry, because Perry so far is defending very, very well, and his car is behaving very nicely through the infield section. So he suffers a bit on the straight, but not enough to make Smart go past him, and then he can defend very well in the infield section. Once again, it's like deja vu all over again, Joshua, because again on the outside is Smart, and again good defending from Perry. Perry made that mistake a couple of laps ago there in turn 1, but has not done it since, and seems like he has come to terms with that particular. It's one of the toughest corners in iRacing, certainly one of the most deceiving corner in iRacing, that first corner at Daytona Road.
Marco, you mentioned a little bit earlier the fact that we might see some undercuts, we might see some overcuts heading into the pit lane for the one single stop that these drivers will need to make throughout this race. We're coming up in roughly about 3-4 minutes, the sort of undercut window of drivers that can make it to the end on fuel, we know for sure, and it's at the very, very, very front of the pit window. Do you think Kieran Smart might try and go for that undercut? And then if so, how is Tim Perry then going to respond? Because we know that these guys are racing out here on the racetrack. They're racing for a championship. Gotta think Tim Perry is gonna try and play it safe, but Kieran Smart's in a position where they're about even with Tim Perry on speed. They're gonna need to try and pass him in the pit lane.
One thing we have to consider tonight is that there is a lot of real estate out there. It's not, it's not like they are going to run into traffic because we have 15 cars on track right now. So certainly that takes out one of the possible problems of stopping early to get a bit of clean air, is that you don't get into traffic. So this is one thing. The rule with these cars, especially since you don't do any kind of tire stoppage, you just do fuel, is that you have to basically maximize the free track you get and push like a madman when you get the opportunity. By the way, Smart made a little bit of a mistake there, and now he has dropped all of a sudden to 1.5 seconds. Maybe this is the break that Perry was looking for, because when you get to this range, 1.5 seconds there or thereabouts, the draft stops becoming a factor, and this is very, 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 very nice for Perry.
He's still dropping a little bit as well. Down to 1.6 seconds in between those top two. Having a replay. Did Daniel Jansen maybe with some more issues heading into turn number 1. Went a little bit too wide. Hits the curb on the side and doesn't look like a ton of damage to that 334, but a little bit of a tap to the front end on the pit wall there on the pit exit here at Daytona. LMP1 leader is currently Alex Salmon. LMP2 leader currently Tim Perry. And before we work our way into the pit stops here tonight, we would like to thank all of the wonderful sponsors that output on each and every broadcast for Apex Racing TV, starting with Virtual Racing School. They offer to improve your on-track performance with 50-plus data packs for both road and oval racing, along with setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. For more information and pricing options, you can head to www.virtualracingschool.com as we take a look at a huge brake failure there for Hans Blancourt. Completely misses the braking zone, gets loose heading down into the bus stop and slams hard into the wall. That spells the end to the 333's day. We also would like to thank Apex Racing Academy. They have over 29 data packs to improve your performance in the sim, complete with setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, and more. Apex Racing Academy is also integrated with Virtual Racing School, and for pricing options and more information on Apex Racing Academy, you can head to apexracingac.com. If you enjoy all the overlays that you're seeing on our broadcast tonight, well, those are all provided by SDK Gaming. SDK Gaming allows you to stream to Twitch with the most complete overlay on iRacing. Add a virtual live HUD, timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini-maps, fuel calculators, and more. Adjust your team's strategy on the fly with our most accurate live timing in iRacing. SDK Gaming also works on broadcast overlay for your leagues and series, complete with 6 cameras for production and commentary. For pricing options and more information, visit sdk-gaming.co.uk. Last but certainly not least, we would like to thank the title sponsor for this season of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, Wave Italy. Wave Italy's mission is to offer the best experience in driving simulation to an even broader audience with the aim of conveying the thrill of a real race to the passionate and professional of eSport and sim racing. We offer extremely performing devices as Alex Salmon, race leader from LMP1, will make his pit stop, and Wave Italy are providing the overall winner of LMP1, overall champion this year, a choice of their Wave Italy Impetus Monza or Wave Impetus Imola sim pedals, and the winner of LMP2 gets half a day of professional coaching at the Wave Italy Professional Training Center in Verona. If you want 5% off any product at waveitaly.com, use the code APEXRACING5 at checkout. So there's Alex Salmon in the pits. He might be attempting an undercut here from the lead. Depends on now when Jan Korbs will pit, when Sam Blackwood will pit, and if Alexander Spetz or Andrew Thompson are going to try anything in LMP1.
By the way, if you get the opportunity and you win the prize, Verona is a beautiful city, a jewel of a city in northern Italy. Absolutely, you know, you get visit the Wave Italy Center and maybe enjoy a tour of the city. There is so much more than Romeo and Juliet in there, I can tell you.
I would also like to mention before we move on with the green flag pit stops here midway through the final round of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. If you're enjoying all of the streams here on Apex Racing TV, all of our wonderful iRacing broadcasts, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified each time we go live here on Apex Racing TV. Also, if you're following along with our live timing over on apexracingtv.com, then you can head over to our Twitch page, twitch.tv/ApexRacingTV, and your stream will be a little bit more real time than the YouTube stream. So if you're following along the live timing, head over to our Twitch page and follow along with the stream over there. And also follow Apex Racing TV wherever you are on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. Apex Racing TV on all platforms. So here's Alexander Spetz in front of Alex Salmon now.
Yeah, Salmon after the pit stop is closing in quite quickly. Remember that Spetz took a faster pair, so his car should be more or less fine. And let's see how they will approach this high-intense run. Remember, Spetz has stopped on lap 7. It's very, very early. You have seen Salmon pitting on lap 18, 25-minute mark. This is so early, but this is, of course, a high fuel consumption track, so it makes sense. And he is not giving the position away easily.
Back onto the oval, NASCAR 1 and 2. Salmon with his pit stop already done. Spetz has pitted, but he pitted on lap 7, which was about 13 laps ago now. Marco, I don't think he can make it to the end on fuel. He still needs to pit one more time, but it seems like he's going to try and stretch it out as long as he can.
Exactly. He's playing a bit of a F1 tactic, no? We've seen Valtteri Bottas and other drivers pull this many times in the past. Let's see, because now Salmon is incredibly close. He's around the outside, maybe boosting a bit. Spets will not give up easily on that inside. Let's see. Oh, he moves in front of him and makes the pass. So Alex Salmon took him a bit more maybe than expected, but up into third place overall. And let's see if Spets is ready to give up, maybe saving a bit of food. But even if he saves, I don't think it's going to be enough. He stopped very early.
On board with Alexander Spets through the International Horseshoe.
Man, I'm having flashbacks for a second. You know. Oh man, it was the exact same spot of their collision earlier. Everything went smooth, and Spets boosting to the infield, I think, Joshua, so keeping a close contact with Salmon and maybe going for the move now.
Using the draft. We talked about the draft, the LMP1 being a little bit more difficult. Not going to use any boost to his advantage. He'll slide to the outside. Covers him off heading into the bus stop. Wonderful move from Alexander Spets. Now with Spets keeping Salmon behind him, this could ruin possibly any chance Alex Salmon has to win this race. He tried to close the door. He couldn't do it in time. He's able to do it now through NASCAR 4 and back to the front straightaway.
Man, Salmon is losing a lot of time, and it is losing even more. This fight is so hard that they will come close once again in turn 1. Salmon gets the job done for now.
Slides up, covers the spot on Alexander Spets. And like you said, Marco, for now, I think we are not done seeing these two sparring here through the Daytona International Speedway infield. Heading back to where Alexander Spets was shunted by Alex Salmon a little bit earlier on. He's right on the back wing, goes to the outside, heading into the corner, not going to be able to get there in time. Crossover move, is he going to try and go to the bottom? No, he won't. Stays in the slipstream down the straightaway. Back through NASCAR 3 and 4. They'll use the slipstream of the LMP2 car. Spets now a little bit too far for slipstream. He's going to need to try and get on the boost if he wants to make a move heading into the bus stop. Doesn't look like he'll go for one. Through the bus stop they go. Out of the bus stop, now back into NASCAR 3 and 4. Oh my, look at the run from Alexander Spets to the outside. They're going to be three wide with the LMP2 at the bottom. Still 2 wide for the LMP, 1/3 place, and Salmon gonna cut up into the line. He'll follow now. Alexander Spets across the start-finish line.
Oh, and he's wide. He's very wide. And look how much time he's losing there to corps at the bottom. Look at the gap there at the bottom, lap by lap. This is costing Alex Salmon so much.
Update with the LMP2 battle. Tim Perry still leads the way there. Kieran Smart, second place. Gap widened. You could see that a couple of laps ago, but since then it has shortened back up, as undoubtedly the LMP2s will need to come into the pit lane soon. Nobody has really pitted within that pit window just yet, except for Alex Salmon.
I'm wondering why this early stop from Salmon, you know. Maybe he felt he had some damage stemming from the collision earlier, because I was expecting the other LMP1s to come to the pits soon enough, but that hasn't happened, and here they go again.
Spets back to third. Salmon now going to try and sit comfortably in fourth, but he's not going to sit there well. So try and come back up. Battle for LMP2. Both of these battles now closing in on this racetrack. Tim Perry now only about a 3/10 gap between himself and Kieran Smart.
Yeah, Joshua, they actually overlapped on the front stretch, so it's back to the situation we had before, with Smart getting super close but cannot make the move.
Same issue that we saw in the first half of this race as we now enter the last half. Around the outside, tries to go Alex Salmon. Spet's going to do a great job of holding it on the bottom of the racetrack. Now Salmon dives back to the outside. Gonna have to settle into line. Goes for the crossover, but on the power sooner is Spets. Now back through NASCAR 1 and 2. Can Smart get the move made into the bus stop? Battle for the LMP2 lead and the LMP2 points lead. Not enough. Perry keeps the lead through the bus stop. Salmon gonna take over P3 heading into the bus stop for LMP1. Spets falls to 4th. Off NASCAR 4 and down the front straightaway.
Perry's in.
Same thing from Smart, but Perry's gonna come into the pit lane. He'll lead the LMP2s into the pit lane. Side by side now in LMP1. Spets tries to cover off the spot. Salmon barely there. He'll keep 3rd place down into turn number 1. Slight contact in between them.
And he's wide, he's very wide. And they touch again.
Oh, contact again. Corb's way off track. More contact with Alex Salmon. They bump off each other, slamming into each other into the International Horseshoe. He'll use the slipstream once again. Spets and Salmon have been sparring the entire race. Now, Tim Perry led. Sorensen, Hellegorsch, Cabral, all into the pit lane. Kieran Smart now caught on the racetrack. He'll need to pit this time if he wants a chance of keeping up. Spets will use the slipstream, goes back to the outside. Salmon gonna cover off the spot. He'll try and close the door. It'll be a little bit too late. He won't fully close it on Spets. Spets dives back to the inside, side by side into the bus stop. This day side by side, wheel to wheel. Spets will take the spot up into 3rd now of LMP1. But here comes Salmon, 4th place. He'll go back to the outside through 3 and 4.
Blackwood is in, by the way. Oh! Ooh! How close were they there, Joshua? Incredible.
These two drivers are racing like the championship depends on it, but we know OCM Racing and ARL Abruzzi eSports Silver have been the team rivalry of this season. Here's your LMP2 leader, Kieran Smart, in. Can Tim Perry make up the gap quick enough on the racetrack? He's working his way through NASCAR 1 and 2 right now and onto the back straightaway. Is he going to catch up? The pit lane time, roughly about 1 minute for the LMP2s. It's going to be close, and if anything, they might come out in the same gap as they went in. With Blackwood coming into the pits for LMP1, that'll move Alex Salmon up to P2. Alexander Spets now up to P3. They'll battle for 2nd place as Corbs comes in, your leader of LMP1. There goes Kieran Smart out of the racetrack. Take a look at the track map. Coming through the triangle across the start-finish line is Tim Perry. How close will they be on exit? There's Kieran Smart. Can only go so fast through the access road. Out of the pit lane they come. There's Tim Perry. How close will they be? They're going to be almost side by side. He's going to cover off the spot. Kieran Smart's going to take the lead out of the pit lane. An unbelievable pit stop for Kieran Smart. He now has the lead. Can he hold on for the championship of LMP2 with about 23 to go?
This race is unreal, and we haven't seen the best yet, in my opinion, Joshua. A lot of things can happen. Corbs in and out, still in the lead for LMP1. Salmon 2nd, Spets, Blackwood, and Thompson. And now we'll see when Spets will decide to head for pit road for his 2nd stop. But the damage has been done, of course, for Salmon, because he's now 4.5 seconds behind the race lead.
Salmon not going to be close enough. And take a look at this, still side by side between LMP2. We know Perry's just a touch faster than Kieran Smart, but that lead, Marco, is so important. But Smart needs to be perfect for about 20 minutes to walk away with this championship. This is going to be close because we know Perry is fast. We know he's undoubtedly slightly faster than Kieran Smart. How is Kieran Smart going to work that lead? And Smart is going to look for their 3rd win of the season. Their 4th win of the season. They won at the Nürburgring in round number 1. They won in round 3 at Le Mans, and now they're trying to go for their first win since round 7 at Road America. Side by side, Jean-Francois Elagorche on the outside, trying to go right around Thomas Sorensen on the inside. Sorensen, a late entry to LMP2 and Marco, but apart from that mistake, he's had a pretty good season as the round goes Elagorche up into 3rd.
Yeah, Sorensen down to 4th, another very, very new driver to the series as, behind, we have two familiar faces in the Salmon and Spets. Jump on board with Alexander and enjoy the traffic management. Joshua, I want your prediction right now on the LMP2 race. Who's going to win it?
Well, as of right now, I think Kieran Smart's in the best spot because I do think defending, especially in these LMP2s, is better than the defense is easier than the offense. So I think if Perry, like what he's doing right now, using that slipstream to his advantage, but it's the same thing as Kieran Smart. He's not able to get close enough on the outside. They're side by side going down to 1, but Perry sends it in a lot more than Kieran Smart can, but the inside is too dominant. Smart's going to keep the lead.
I'm going with Tim Perry. I don't know why, but I feel he's going to pull it off somehow. But incredibly close, two fantastic drivers, both deserving of the title tonight.
Smart right now, sitting where he is in the lead, will earn 50 points towards the championship. Tim Perry will earn 44. And with 2 points separating Perry and Smart, Perry with the lead heading into tonight's race, it will be a 4-point win for Kieran Smart. Unofficially, of course. We'll have to wait for everything to be calculated and all the protests to go through, but unofficially, where they run on the racetrack right now, we are looking at Kieran Smart being the LMP2 champion. Question is, can he hold on and can Tim Perry get back to the back wing of Kieran Smart and have something to say about it? 19 and a half minutes to go in the Season 2 of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, and the LMP2 Championship will come down to the line.
Once again, exciting action on track. Don't forget to stay tuned at the end of the race for the Season 3 announcement of this particular championship, which will start, race 1, mark it on the calendar, Friday, July the 16th. So that is the date we'll have race 1 of the new season from, I can give you the sneak peek, my home track of Monza. Well, not my own track, Monza in Italy.
I can't think of a better place to start the season, honestly, than Monza in these prototypes. That is one of the funnest tracks to take these cars at. And I would note, the only time I've ever driven a prototype in an official series on iRacing, it was the Week 13 Dallara P217 series that I thought was for safety rating. It was not, but I had a pretty good finish of 2nd place at Monza, and it was a pretty fun 10 to 15 minute race. I believe it was only 10 minutes, so it was a fun little sprint race, and thought I would be able to get my road license a little bit further up with that race, but unfortunately I did not. Luckily, though, I did get about 8x during that race, so honestly kind of glad it wasn't for safety rating. But back to the race that we're tuning in here today, and Smart's putting the gap up on Perry.
I think Perry got a slowdown coming out of the bus stop, as now he gets overwhelmed by Spets and Salmon, and still Spets with his fuel tank is looking... Oh,
contact again! They both go off! Hard into each other goes Alexander Spets and Alex Salmon. Spets slams into the wall. He gets the worst out of that. Alex Salmon able to keep going, but more big damage to the right side of that LMP1. They came together earlier on today. They come together again in the bus stop. Here's the replay.
Game over for Spets. Fast repair already used. Massive netcode, and then a questionable rejoin.
It is hard to control these LMP1s in any car, for that matter, on the grass.
I agree with
It's
you.
hard to blame Alexander Spets fully there, and definitely connection issues that led to him going off track, but unfortunate for both parties there. It doesn't seem like really either one of them had control of that. You could say Alexander Spets could have left a little bit more room, but they are racing out there on the racetrack. They don't need to leave any room. Oh, he did hit the gas on the grass, though. That is going to be a tough one to call for the stewards.
So, in the end, Spets goes to the pit lane, not the way he wanted, unfortunately for him, and that's, as I was saying, is going to be all she wrote for tonight, because that's, you know, fast repair already used for the first crash, and so he's not going to be able to continue for the rest of the evening. It's going to be long repairs with 15 minutes left in the season. But man, I might have given Team Perry the kiss of death, because after my prediction, he has lost half a second on lap 28. Ah no, this is the wrong battle. Apologies. There we go. 26 and 27 were not recorded by iRacing. Maybe Perry was having some connection issues. But still, gap now to 2 seconds. So really, I might have jinxed him for good. I'm very sorry for Team, because very big lack of pace after the pit stop somehow. But we've seen earlier, Smart drop to 2 seconds and then make it back. You know, so it's not over just yet, this fight.
Depending on if Smart makes another mistake, that could very well close in rather quickly. And I do want to touch on Alexander Spets one more time, because it needs to be said that he did have an incredible season. 4 wins. He had a 5-race streak of fastest laps and poles. 6 poles in a row from round 2 to round number 7. And then he had the fastest lap 6 races this season, including the last race at Road America, or sorry, at Watkins Glen in round number 8. So a great season for Alexander Spets. Fortunately, not able to get it done with the points. And Alex Salmon and Jan Korbs have been the dominant cars of the season. And right now, Jan Korbs in the catbird seat for a championship.
Let's give you some camera time, because we have mostly ignored him tonight. There is
great season so far. Obviously leading the way, which means a great season, Marco, but in looking at where he has finished, he has a second place, 4 second places in a row in the first 4 rounds, then a third, a second, a first, and a first. That, I can't say consistency any other way. His lowest finish of the season is 3rd. He has been on fire the entire season, and I don't think there's anybody better in LMP1 to walk away with the championship.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you, and when you have, you know, a 9-round championship, or any championship for that matter, it's not 2 or 3 races, consistency in the end is what makes a difference. Yes, you can be fast, and you can be the fastest, but if you have no consistency, or in real life, if you have no consistency nor reliability, you are going nowhere. And Jan Korbs was consistent, was fast, perfect mix tonight especially, and you know, his rivals have really been making mistakes, all of them, and he didn't. Simple as that.
Closing in on the final minutes of the season here for the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. One more time before we do cover the last few minutes of this race, we would like to one more time thank all of the wonderful sponsors of Apex Racing TV, starting with Virtual Racing School. Virtual Racing School offers to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for both road and oval racing, along with setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. For more information and pricing options, head to www.virtualracingschool.com. You can also head over to Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs to improve your performance in the sim, complete with setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, and more. And everything is integrated with the Virtual Racing School. So for pricing options, you can head over to apexracingac.com. All of the overlays you see on our broadcast are provided by SDK Gaming. They allow you to stream to Twitch with the most complete overlay on iRacing. You can add a virtual live HUD, timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini-maps, fuel calculators, and more. Also adjust your team strategy on the fly with our most accurate live timing in iRacing. It also works as a great broadcast overlay for leagues and series, complete with synced cameras for production and commentary. For pricing options and more information, you can visit sdk-gaming.co.uk. And for one final time this season, we would like to thank the title sponsor of the season and also the title sponsor of the Apex Racing League GT Championship. It is Wave Italy. Wave Italy's mission is to offer the best experience in driving simulation to an even broader audience, with the aim of conveying the thrill of a real race to passionate and professionals of eSport and sim racing. We offer extremely performing and realistic devices, also suitable for corporate or private events. An unforgettable, immersive driving experience. Wave Italy are providing the overall winner of LMP1 the choice of their high-end Wave Impetus Imola or Wave Impetus Monza sim pedals in a color of their choice. Overall winner of LMP2 gets half a day of professional coaching at the Wave Italy Professional Training Center in Verona, and to get 5% off any product at waveitaly.com, use the code APEXRACING5 at checkout. Also, would like to remind you that we have so many great upcoming events here on Apex Racing TV as you take a look at Thomas Sorensen going to the outside, trying to make a move on Jean-Francois Elagorche. He will try and get it around the outside, side by side, going through turn one, little bit of a door slam, and right around goes Jean-Francois Elagorche to keep the spot in P3. And as I was saying, a lot of great upcoming events on Apex Racing TV. At the end of the show, we'll tell you exactly what those events are, but if you want to be notified every time we go live, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, click the notification bell, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/ApexRacingTV, and follow all of our social medias at Apex Racing TV. About 11 minutes to go here from the World Center of Racing. Jan Korbs leads the way in LMP1, and Kieran Smart leads the way in LMP2.
Sorensen and Elagorche, our closest fight on the track, as Cabral, I think, has had a problem. Let's give it a look. A race that started badly for Cesar and has never taken off, unfortunately. He was chatting with us in the YouTube chat before the start of the race. I managed to save it, so not bad, but of course sitting in 6th place in class, 10th overall, after spinning on lap 1 at the International Horseshoe. Had claimed 2 victims, himself and Joost Bouwmeester. So let's get into the final 8 minutes of the season. Sorensen trying to get the position back on Elagorche. This beautiful fight between the pair of them. Around the outside goes the Danish driver. And he gets the job done, maybe? Almost? Yeah, he gets the job done. Great move.
Still side by side, he'll try and fully complete that move and shut the door going through the International Horseshoe. Exactly what he does. That'll move Elagorche now back to P4. Sorensen in 3rd. Kieran Smart, Tim Perry still your top 2 of LMP2. Smart leading the points now as they run in the series as well. On board with Sorensen, trying to keep that spot covered off. You can see Elagorche getting a little bit loose with the dirty air coming off of the 391 of Sorensen. He gets a little bit loose going through the corner. Now they'll head back onto the oval and NASCAR turns 1 and 2. Now through the bus stop. Oh, gets way loose coming out of the bus stop. Elagorche back to the inside. Sorensen, Elagorche back to side by side, and he's going to keep the spot. Sorensen back to the outside. They'll go side by side once again. There's the LMP1 of Jan Korbs. He'll go right on by. He's not racing those LMP2s. Can Elagorche keep the spot on the inside? Sorensen with a dive on the outside line, trying to close the door. Couldn't do it in time. Elagorche is going to take the spot. 3rd place now for the 356 as Roy Moss sits in the wings waiting for them to battle it out still. Sam Blackwood gets by Alex Salmon for second place. They're about 16 seconds off of the leader, but these OCM Racing drivers still racing on the racetrack. Blackwood gets by Salmon for P2.
If someone has got damage from earlier, or if it was just some, being nice to his teammate there. In any case, Salmon up to second, now makes a mistake. In the meantime, Roy Mass again goes past Sorensen there for fourth place. Sorensen goes from third to fifth in the span of a couple of laps.
Can Sorensen get the spot back? Uses the slipstream down the back straightaway. Not gonna be close enough. He'll stay in fifth place through the bus stop and on to the NASCAR Oval, turns 3 and 4. And as Jan Korbs comes across the start-finish line, 5 minutes to go here from Daytona. Sorensen gonna look to the inside. Trying to cover off the spot was Roy Maas. He couldn't close the door in time. The 391 on the inside of Sorensen. He'll go up to cover the spot, and he does. Back up into fourth place is Sorensen.
This battle for third, fourth, and fifth came out of nowhere now towards the end of the race. Very exciting. Up front, Perry has closed the gap a bit, but the trend is positive for him, for Perry. But he needs to do more, of course. So far, not enough, especially with less than 5 minutes remaining in the season.
I was about to say, Marco, if he's starting to turn up the wick now and starting to get that fire going, I don't think he has enough time to catch up because they're gonna be at about 4 minutes left when they come across the line. And the laps for the LMP1s are about 124, where Jan Korbs is right now. We're going to be looking at only about 3 laps left by the time Jan Korbs comes across the line. There's not a lot of time for Tim Perry to make up that position. It's one thing to catch Kieran Smart, completely different to try and get around him.
But one thing is crucial, he's now down to under a second. And both of them are good on fuel. They stopped for exactly the same time, 25 seconds and a half, more or less. So no risk, it's not like Smart is saving fuel or stuff like that, no. They are both on the same page, fuel-wise. And now, as I was saying, that gap was under a second. Now, Smart pulling away ever so slightly in the first portion of the infield. But he needs to stay a bit more ahead if he wants to be safe from the draft. And this is going to be a close fight. Because if they get on the backstretch now, on NASCAR 1 and 2, with less than a second between them, we could see some fireworks. And just to say that, a mistake from Perry, and Smart pulls away once again.
1.5 seconds now, the gap between Smart and Perry. And if Perry can keep that momentum that he had going there for about 3 laps, get it going now, he might have a chance, but it's going to be close. Because when Jan Korbs comes across the line this time by, expecting it to be 2 laps to go. So that means that these drivers are severely running out of time to settle out these championships. And Kieran Smart with the pass in the pit lane, if he's able to hold on to this lead, is going to be one of the best moves of the season, Marco, and is going to be the move for the championship. Once again, if Smart can hold on and if there is no objections in the protests, he will be the unofficial winner.
Look at that gap on lap 36, the one we just completed. Fantastic lap from Smart and a bad lap from Perry. This is a bad mix, bad combination for Tim Perry himself. Now has a mountain to climb and only a couple of minutes left. In fact, there we go with Jan Korbs putting another lap on the LMP2 leaders. And if my calculations are correct, next time he comes past the start-finish line on the tri-oval, he will see Barney waving the final white flag of the season.
On the oval comes Jan Korbs. Little bit of closing from Tim Perry. Not enough. He will be net positive on this lap the way he's trending right now. But there you can see he started to close that gap in and closed it in by a lot, about 1 second, a little over 1 second. Then just completely lost it on the last lap. And he'll be able to make a bit of that up here. But with 1 to go, he needs a huge mistake from Track Scotland's Kieran Smart if he wants any chance at walking away with the championship. But speaking of championships, white flags in the hands of Barney the Flag Man for the final time this season. 1 lap to go from the World Center of Racing. Jan Korb looking for a walk-off championship victory. Kieran Smart still needs to work for it. 1.2 seconds is the gap.
Then we've come to the checkered flag, basically, I wouldn't say together, because of course Jan is going to pull away now with his LMP1 boost and of course quicker car, but I mean, gap is 1 second now, dropping down to just under 1 second in the at the kink. But Kieran Smart looking good, especially because, as you were saying, of course, we have seen tonight how tough it is to overtake in the LMP2 class, especially between similarly paced drivers. And so it seems like for Kieran Smart it would be unofficially champagne time. Of course, we have to consider the drops and all the nice stuff, but of course, given that we have no LMP2 Pro drivers, certainly they're not going to drop this round because they are scoring big, these LMP2 drivers, since they are getting all of the points that the pros have left on the table, which is great for them. No Pro and AMs in LMP1, and Jan Korb is about to seal another victory.
He came into today 16 points above second place Alex Salmon. 3 wins in a row to end the season. He is your unofficial champion for ARL Brucey eSports Silver. It's Jan Korbs, and your LMP2 AM champion by 4/10 of a second. Unofficially, Track Scotland's Kieran Smart.
Sam Blackwood will finish second, Alex Salmon in third, and Andy Thompson in his Porsche will finish fourth. We have other drivers. Yes, Leguarch is coming, and he will hold off Thomas Sorensen and Roy Maas. There they are, one after the other, almost equidistant one to the other. And we are just waiting as Smart is enjoying some donuts, and also Tim Perry. Everyone is happy. I liked it. It was a fantastic fight, and both drivers know it was a very, very fair, hard, but fair fight in this LMP2 class all season long, and especially tonight it was on a razor's edge. So
those LMP2 AM drivers came in today 2 points separating each other. Sorry to interrupt you there, Marco, but 2 points separating them, and Smart was able to get it with the green flag pit stops. Came out a solid 10th above Tim Perry and was able to hold it onto the checkered flag.
Blackwood and Kurbs doing some parade lap, maybe finally, I hope for the stewards as well, burying the hatchet between ARL Abruzzi and OCM. Wishful thinking, as they cut through the bus stop. And let's see, we have seen Smart and Perry with the donuts. We haven't seen Kurbs' celebration. And in the meantime, as we keep on following the champion-elect of the LMP1 class, I think that standing by with the results is Joshua, and they should be on your screen right now.
A win and a championship for Jan Korbs for LMP1. Sam Blackwood and Alex Salmon set it all out between OCM Racing and Andy Thompson for Performance League Esports. Round out your top 4, and finishing down the order in the overall, Alexander Spetz and Just Baumeister round out your 6 for LMP1. A win in LMP2 AM and a championship in LMP2 AM for Kieran Smart and Track Scotland. He'll finish 5th overall, 1st in the class. Tim Perry, Jean-Francois Elagorche, Thomas Sorensen, and Roy Maas round out your top 5. Cesar Cabral, Jason Marichal, Hans Blanquert, Daniel Jansen, and Aaron Smith rounds out the 16 drivers who took the green flag here from Daytona. An insane season ends with an intense battle for the championship, and we'll enter the post-race show here on Apex Racing TV. We already have the LMP2 AM winner with us right now. Your unofficial champion, Kieran Smart for Track Scotland. Kieran, just start off by giving me the emotions of this championship. It came down to that pit stop. You coming out a solid 10th above Tim Perry, and then just having to hold on for the championship. What does it feel now, knowing that you are unofficially the champion in LMP2M?
Yeah, it's good. It was a tough race though. could have been easier.
Well, we saw both you and Tim Perry, which both of you were fairly even on speed this entire night. Did you know you had to make it happen in the pit lane because you were not passing him on the racetrack?
Yeah, I think I made a mistake early on, and it actually probably benefited me because I managed to save fuel and pit that lap later. But yeah, it's quite hard to pass because even with the slipstream, as long as, I mean, Tim covered the marks really well, so it was really hard to get down the inside of him. So yeah, the pit stop was the best place to do it. And then I think he had a slowdown later on in the race, so that helped as well.
And you kept on pulling away up at the front. You've had a fantastic season. You end off 4 wins. You didn't finish lower than 3rd in LMP2 AM at all this season. What does it mean to bring home the championship, not only for you, but for your team and heading into Season 3?
Yeah, it's the first iRacing championship I won, so yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, I would like to get closer to the pros. That was kind of my aim in the season, but it was obviously hard. With none of them here today, it was hard to see where they would have been. But yeah, that's my aim going forward.
And anybody else that you would like to thank from the team for you personally as you walk away with the championship here in virtual Daytona?
Thanks to my teammate Matthew. It was him that kind of spotted the championship and sort of pointed me in the direction of it. So yeah, shame he couldn't make all the rounds, but yeah, it was good.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the booth. That is your unofficial LMP2 champion, LMP2 AM champion, Kieran Smart. And we'll grab your unofficial LMP1 champion as well, Jan Korbs. Jan, it was a hard-fought battle between you and Alex Salmon all the way to the end, but the final 3 races of the season, you get 3 wins in a row. How does it feel to be the unofficial champion?
Really good, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it was really hard to pick up the pace in the second part of the season again, with realizing there was really much on the table. And yeah, it really worked out for me, luckily. Also at Daytona here, where I didn't thought about being competitive as well as in the races before Daytona, I mean.
You didn't think that you were competitive heading into tonight, but you seem to be the best car out of anybody out there tonight. You qualified on the pole, immediately pulled away up at the front. And does this kind of show that you were the car to beat the entire season? Because it was a string of second place finishes. You were second 4 weeks in a row. You dropped down to 3rd, and then another second place, and then you finally started this string of wins. What did it take to start getting that string of wins? Because, like I mentioned, you were runner-up a lot before you ever got to the top step of the podium in this series.
Yeah, achieving consistent results is really important if you watch towards the championship. Of course, it's frustrating if you don't get a job done to get the win, but P2 was always good enough for me, in my opinion, because it also gives a lot of points, you know. And in the end, it was enabling me to achieve such a good result of the complete season, you know. It's really, really good for me to have such consistent results in the first half and then kicking off some wins in the last 3 races. Really good. Unfortunately, we lost some other LMP1s and LMP2s over the season, which it was really fun in the beginning of the season with so many cars on like Nürburgring and to Le Mans. It was really funny, but yeah, nothing I can do about it. Yeah.
What does it mean to walk away with the championship, not just for you, but for the entire team? Because we know ARL Abruzzi eSports silver and the entire team is so dominant in the iRacing sector. How does it feel to walk away with the championship for them and for everybody that helps you?
I think it's it should have happened last season already, but some circumstances didn't allow us to do it like we wanted, because over the course of a season everything needs to fit perfectly. Every race needs to be the best performance you can do, and it worked out this season for us then, as we switched our drivers. So not saying they are not competitive, they are fast as hell, but they had some bad luck unfortunately. And I'm really proud of being part of this team and also having them all with me, with every decision, with every setup we are doing for every track. So yeah, I want to say a huge thank you to all the guys back in the team, being there for me during the races, during practice. And yeah, it's our title, definitely our title, not my title. If I get it, it's our title, definitely.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the booth. That is your LMP1 champion, Jan Korbs. And Marco, the points are now official. It is Jan Korbs, it is Kieran Smart, and your LMP2 Pro champion unfortunately could not join us here. It is Timo Hayden who will take the win for Impulse Racing in LMP2 Pro over his Impulse Racing teammate Wes Van Dyke. But an incredible season comes to a close, Marco, but I know that we have a season coming up starting on July 16th, and Season 3 is going to be just as exciting as this season, even more exciting, I could feel.
Absolutely, as I was promising earlier, during the broadcast, we are going to have, I was going to make a radical announcement about the new season, and so I need to, keep true to my words. And the sign-ups will be open in the next few minutes for the new season of the Apex Racing League Wave Italy. Of course, back as a sponsor, Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Season 3. We will have 9 rounds and a big change. The LMP2 will be the top dog in town, and joining the ranks as the lower class will be a car that is really enjoying a second lease of life in iRacing, and that's the Radical. Speaking of which, we have the SOF race of the Radical in half an hour here on Apex Racing TV, so if you want to enjoy some of that. So LMP2 and Radicals, it will start on July the 16th. And it's going to visit some of the most amazing racetracks. We try to get a lot of basically half and half tracks from either the series where the LMP2 races, mainly the IMSA series, and of course also the Radical series was taken into account, so as to help the drivers with the setups, etc. So round 1 will be at Monza. And then we will go to Mosport, the Red Bull Ring, for the first time ever in the series, of course. Silverstone, Sebring, Road America, Hockenheim, Watkins Glen, and my favorite track of them all to round up the season on the 17th of September. TBD, of course, because we are waiting on a new racing schedule for the 4th season of the year. So the links should be coming aplenty in the Apex Racing League Discord, and of course on apexracingleague.com you will find all the informations about this new series. As I was saying, I think we say goodbye to the LMP1s with a quite exciting final race of the car in the series, with an incredible fight between Korbs and Salmon, with a very well deserved champion-elect in Jan Korbs. I think, Joshua, is going to be interesting next season, because the LMP2 now becomes the top class, and this will change, I think, a lot of the dynamics of how the LMP2s will drive. A lot of these drivers in the LMP2 that complain throughout the seasons about LMP1s lapping them, now it's going to be on them, the onus of being the good lappers, lapping cars. And the Radical, I mean, exciting car. We see the Strength of Field race here on Apex Racing TV on Friday nights, has massive numbers. It is very popular. It has been made into a fixed series on the iRacing service, and it will bring back the dual soul of prototype racing we had up until a few years ago. Closed cockpit versus open cockpit, modern high-tech closed cockpit prototypes with a more, I would say, down-to-earth raw prototype in the Radical. So it's going to be quite a big change. What do you think?
I think it's definitely going to be incredibly exciting, and you can see the full announcement on the website, apexracingleague.com, and the entries are now open. So if you're in our Apex Racing League Discord, head over there. You can start signing up and find more information at apexracingleague.com. We might be saying goodbye to Season 2 of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, but there are a lot of seasons that are continuing here on Apex Racing TV. Like Marco just mentioned, the Radical Racing Challenge, you can catch that in just about 30 minutes for round 2 at Brands Hatch of the season, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. UTC, here on Friday night. The Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series has its season finale tomorrow at Long Beach, 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Formula 3.5 Championship is also tomorrow night, 9:45 p.m. UTC, 5:45 p.m. Eastern for round 2 at Road America. The Wave Italy Apex Racing League GT Championship for the second round at Imola of the season on Sunday, 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. SRF Weekend Warriors return on Sunday as well, 3:55 p.m. Eastern, 7:55 p.m. UTC from the Nordschleife. The IGP Fun F3 VRS is back for round 2 at Long Beach, Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, 8:25 p.m. UTC. And then Apex Racing League GT Trophy, round 6 at Brands Hatch on Tuesday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. And the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship for the 8th round at MoSport on Wednesday, 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch all of those broadcasts right here on Apex Racing TV. Thank you all for joining us from the virtual Daytona International Speedway for the finale round of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, live on Apex Racing TV. And thank you for joining us for 9 rounds of intense prototype action. For Marco Barbanera and my colleague Dane Baird, who joined me for the majority of the season, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are saying goodbye from the virtual Daytona, and we'll see you in Season 3.